Okay, so let's talk about Amazon Q. Amazon Q is a chatbot, a virtual assistant AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT, but with some unique differences, which I'm going to talk about in this video. So let's get right to it. So for one thing, this chatbot is capable of crawling through a company organization. So what does that mean? Basically, if you have any questions, if you're a new joiner, for example, and you have any questions relating to company policy, the chatbot will be your go-to resource to answer those questions for you. So let me give an example. Suppose you have a question about how many PTO days you could take at a new firm that you just joined, and some HR person is not readily available for you to answer that question. What you can do is query the chatbot just like you would with ChatGPT or any other AI assistant and ask the question that you want answered. So you can ask it, hey, how many PTO days can I take? And it's just going to spit out an answer according to company policies. And the way it figures out this information is because it's going to crawl through the company portal. So Amazon Q can also be integrated directly into AWS. So it's an expert on the AWS well-architected framework. So it will be able to give you best guidelines and practices when you're designing your application to make sure that it's resilient to failures. Apart from this, Amazon Q can also be integrated into popular IDEs. So, when you develop any sort of application, when you're coding it and you're using an IDE, you can use Amazon Q as sort of like a guidance or sort of like a helper to help you with any sort of issues that you're facing. Apart from this, Amazon Q can also be used as a general chatbot, just like ChatGPT or Bard or Bing Chat. You can query it for answers to specific questions or general questions, and the idea is that it'll be able to answer your questions for you, just like with ChatGPT. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to deploy your own Amazon Q chatbot through a web experience. The whole idea behind how it works is basically uploading a test PDF to an S3 bucket. This test PDF could really be any information, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to connect the S3 bucket as a data source to the chatbot, to the Amazon Q service on AWS. And essentially, we want to be able to train the chatbot on the data contained within the PDF. And when we query it for specific information within the PDF, the idea is for the chatbot to be able to pick up on that and give us accurate answers. So let's get right to it.
So before I dive into the video, this is the test PDF that I'm going to be using to train the chatbot. Essentially, it's just Amazon's Q3 earnings, so it's just going to have a bunch of information. It's just a bunch of pages of test PDF, but essentially what I'm going to be doing is uploading this as a PDF to the S3 bucket and training the chatbot on this PDF. So the first step in this whole process is to make sure you go to the AWS Management Console and sign in. I'm using the root user access for demonstration purposes, but usually you want to make sure you use an IAM user access. And once you're in the console homepage, you want to search up the S3 service. So the simple storage service in the search bar on the top left corner, as I'm doing over here. And once you pull that up, you want to click on it. And then what you want to do is create a new bucket on the top right corner over there where it says create bucket. You want to name your bucket. A general purpose bucket will do just fine. So make sure that the bucket naming convention is actually all lowercase. In my example over here, I had to go back and correct that. So make sure that it's actually all lowercase. And then after that is done, all the other settings can remain the same the way they are. They're all the default settings, so you want to scroll all the way down to the very end of the page and just create that bucket by pressing create bucket on the top right corner over there. The next step is to search for the bucket you just created. On the top left corner, you see a search bar, so you're going to search up the name of the bucket and click into it, and then you want to click that upload button and add files by clicking the button that says add files, and you're going to upload a test PDF. So once you're done uploading the file, you just have to scroll down and click the yellow upload button, and it will show you that the upload succeeded. The next step in the process is to create a new Amazon Q application. So just search up the service and click on it, and then press the create application yellow button and name your application. And after you're done naming it, choose the option that says create and use a new service role, and the service role name can stay the way it is, and press the create button on the bottom right corner. And it will take some time for the IAM role to propagate, so just give it a couple of minutes. After the IAM role is done propagating, you need to select a retriever, so you could press the option that says use native retriever. And then after that, step 3 is going to be to connect your data sources, and you want to choose the option that says Amazon S3 because that's what we used. So you're going to name the data source, and then after you name the data source, the rest of the settings can stay the same way. The default settings are fine. And now where it says IAM role, you're going to create a new service role. And then the next step is going to be to browse for the S3 bucket that we just created by clicking the Browse S3 button and then search for the name of the bucket. So in this case, I'm just going to search for my name over here and select it and press the Choose button. And then after that, I'm going to keep scrolling all the way down. And where it says Sync Run Schedule, for the frequency option, I'm going to choose the Run On Demand option. And then I scroll all the way down and add the data source by clicking the yellow Add Data Source button on the bottom right corner over there. And the data source will add. Again, it will take some time for the IAM role to propagate, so just be patient. So the next step is to configure the IAM users for the Amazon Q application that we just created. So you want to search up IAM Identity Center and click on the service. And then once you're on the dashboard page, what you want to do is click on the users button on the left side of the dashboard and create a new user. So you want to fill out all the required information like the username, the email address, the first name, the last name, as well as the display name. So fill out all the primary information, and then after that you can scroll down and create that user by clicking next, and then the groups are fine the way they are, and then just add that user. Once the user has been added, you're going to get an email sent to your inbox to accept the invitation. So just click on accept invitation, and then it's going to take you to the new user sign up page where it'll prompt you to generate a new password. So just make sure that you create a new password according to the requirements. And then once the password has been created, it's going to ask you to sign in with the information that you just created, your username as well as your password. So just make sure you fill that information out and then press the sign in button. After you sign in, it's going to prompt you for an MFA registration. So I chose the Authenticator app option. So just install any sort of Authenticator app on your mobile device. Google Authenticator works fine the way it is. So once you install it, you could press the show QR code button on this website. And then what you're going to do is basically use the Authenticator app on your phone and scan the QR code, and your phone will spit out an Authenticator code, which you'll have to type over here on step 3 on the website. So once that's done, what we want to do is configure the SAML authentication for the Amazon Q application. So we want to go to the IAM Identity Center again, and on the left hand corner we want to click where it says Applications and go to the Customer Manage tab and click Add Application. From here we want to select the first option that says I have an application I want to set up. We want to choose the option that says SAML 2.0, and we want to configure the application. So before we configure the application, we actually have to configure the identity provider. So what we want to do that is click on the radio button next to the application and press Deploy Web Experience. And from there, we want to scroll down until we see Configure Your Identity Provider and copy the ACS URL. And over here, as you can see, I'm just going to put it on a notepad and just copy that URL. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other URI URL as well, where I just copy that, the audience URI, and just paste it to the notepad. So the next step to configure the application is to fill out the display name, And then after that, you want to scroll down to IAM Identity Center metadata and download the SAML metadata file. And after that, you're going to scroll down to where it says application metadata, and you want to fill out the application ACS URL as well as the application SAML audience, which I have over here saved on my notepad. So the first one is going to be the first URL where it says ACS URL, and the second link is going to be the SAML audience URL. After that, you just want to submit that information, so click the yellow submit button, and then the next step is to assign users and groups. So what we want to do is click on the yellow assign users and group button, and then select the user that corresponds to you. In my case, it's just going to be SLM. Press assign users. So the next step is going to be to edit the attribute mappings for the application. So to do that, we just click into the application, and then underneath the actions dropdown, we press that dropdown, and then it says edit attribute mappings. So we're going to go ahead and press that. And then where it says subject, we want to copy this string over here, make sure the string is correct. And the same string is going to be copied for the email, and we just apply those changes. So next, we're ready to deploy the application. So go back to Amazon Q and click the radio button next to the application we want to deploy and press deploy web experience. The next step is to provide the application with the metadata we downloaded earlier. So press import from XML file over here and select the SAML file that you downloaded. So in my case, it's in the downloads folder. And from here, we're just going to enter email for the email attribute of the SAML assertion. So the first letter is going to be uppercase, and then we just press deploy. And again, it's going to tell you that the IAM role is propagating, but it will take some time. But once that's done, it should show you that the application has successfully deployed. Once that's done, one of the last steps required is to sync the application. So click the radio button for the application and scroll down to where it says data sources. Click on the radio button for the data source and press the sync now button. Keep in mind that this sync is going to take approximately 7 minutes, and as you can see on the top of the web page, it says that the sync started, but once it's done, it will tell you that the sync has completed. So now I'm going to start using the chatbot. So as you can see over here, I have the chatbot open, and I'm going to query the chatbot and ask it a specific question like Amazon Q3 earnings, and then press enter, and I'm just going to wait for a couple of seconds until it gives me a response. So as you can see, the chatbot responded with key information about Amazon's Q3 earnings. So this information is all saved in the PDF that I uploaded to the S3 bucket. So when I press sync now, what happens is the chatbot is trained. So now, as you can see here, I'm asking it another query, and this query is not contained in the PDF. It doesn't actually have content, so as a result, the chatbot responds by saying that I don't have any information relating to that.